I'm just going to read a chapter from the book I'm writing. It's about the time in my life when I was my mother's caregiver when she had dementia. It's called Cockeyed Optimism. In the early stages of Mom's illness, I attempt to resuscitate the cockeyed optimism that had my family's life I could remember. This was a phrase from the South Pacific. The soundtrack blasted from our hi-fi record player throughout my childhood. I remember the album cover smattered with white sticks, rough and peeling from a botched paint job in the living room. The LP hadn't suffered. The song lyrics began, "When the skies are brighter canary yellow, I forget every cloud I've ever seen." So they called me a cockeyed optimist, immature and incurably green. I remember Mom expressing her own brand of cockeyed optimism, checking in with us every day. "Everything's great, 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 right?" She belted this like a song in a musical, bright, cheery, and with a grand smile. How could life not be great? As it happened, Mom was great, great, great throughout her life, and through 10 great years of retirement, until she fell apart at the age of 82. A series of small strokes chipped away at her brain, creating a dark and insidious depression. Then multi-infarct dementia set in. This illness carried with it all the anger and pain that she had so successfully avoided for most of her life. Now Mom moaned with her head in her hands, "Nothing's right, nothing's right. I'll suffer for a few years, and then I'll die." I clung to the comfort food sentiments of my childhood, where a tasty-cake chocolate cupcake and a glass of cold milk soothes all wounds. "Don't worry, Mom. Everything will get better. I'll make it better. Just wait and see." "Trace," she said, "you're so naive. Don't you see what's coming?" She looked at me with eyes suddenly clear and wide open in surprise and concern. It was a rare moment of clarity for her. I could read her thoughts. "I know what's going to happen to me, but what will happen to her? She can't face this." And she was right. I could not believe that there wasn't a cure for this, that I couldn't save her. I couldn't believe that she was so changed. I was angry with her for being depressed, for not coping the way she always had, for losing her optimism. I couldn't accept it. I was angry with myself for listening to her, for trying so hard to please her. I was angry that she wanted to die, that she would leave us so helpless and confused. I was angry that she couldn't be the grandmother she used to be, the grandmother she was to my niece and nephew. And now it was my daughter's turn. And where the hell was Mom? I was missing my mother, and I wanted this miserable old woman to disappear. And I was disappointed in the resources we all assumed would be there for us. I was disappointed in the doctors, even as I took copious notes at appointments and followed every medication protocol to the T. I was disappointed with the therapy and day programs, and with my large extended family suddenly scarce. Nothing and no one was working as expected. But I confronted her gloom and doom with my own brand of cockeyed optimism, applying Band-Aids to every new trauma. "Don't worry, Mom. We'll figure this out." It just released her anger and robbed her of discretion. "You're so full of shit, Tracy," my once-literate, happy-go-lucky mother reproached me. Mom was losing her mind, and she knew it, even though the rest of us were hanging on to her moments of clarity as the rule rather than the exception. I had a vision of myself and my brothers as children, each hanging on to Mom's ample, competent arms as she juggled work and family. Now we were grown, scattered, and clinging to a memory. I considered the options and suggested assisted living. At least